I can't explain that adrenaline rush when you're coming down the road at 40 mile an hour on a push bike and the wind's flying around you and there's cars flying around. It's absolutely just the best feeling in the world because you know you're in Lycra. A couple of years ago, back in 2017, I met a chap called George. He kept saying to me, talking to me about getting a bike, and then one day he was very, very rude to me, but all in the name of love, and he suggested that I wouldn't make my 30th birthday if I didn't sort myself out. So, went out, bought a bike. The sad thing was I had to message Halfords at the time and say to them, is there a weight limit on these bikes? Because at the time I think I was 29 stone when I got it. But I did it anyway, I got the bike. June the 7th I got that bike, 2017. And the bike I had was a 3.5 inch thick tyres called a plus bike, because you know, it was obviously better for bigger people. I went out for a ride, I literally did 0.4 miles and I literally got home and fell in a heap on the sofa. And then sort of week in, week out, I just started to gradually build it up. I went to 1.2 miles, 1.4 miles. And I remember a big achievement for me was riding 2.2 miles or something silly down to Morrison's. So I built up sort of 20 miles and I booked in for the Wiggle ride, which was the big, every year team Stynerspin, they do a yearly challenge. I signed up for the 30 mile now. You know, for me, I'd never ridden 30 miles. And I remember turning up, nervous as you like, horrible. But luckily Steve, Trish, Jack, the coaches are absolutely just incredible in the sense that, you know, they support you, they make you feel good. The team make you feel good. It's more like a family than a you know, a team of riders. So we did this ride, and the 30 mile, the achievement was just when I rolled in and everybody was there, was absolutely out of this world. The sense of achievement was brilliant. So then I thought, you know what, I'm going to get a road bike, I'm going to do this. And I found one from a lovely chap, actually, local. I was really nervous about the road bike because, you know, suddenly I'm on tyres sort of an inch thick, running at 110 psi. You know, and at the time I was still 24, 25 stone. I went out with George. We went out and did a local loop. We chewed up something like 22 miles in, you know, half the time. The speed was just so much greater. The hills were like they weren't hills anymore. You know, hills and me do not work. Gravity definitely kicks in when I go up hills. They don't like it. Going down, great, no problem. I fly down them. I won't lie, coast to coast, my training wasn't. I didn't get my training on point. I fell into this trap where the gym became more my focal point. And we turned up coast to coast, and I'm not going to lie, it didn't hit me until I got there, how far away we were. So George just absolutely made that trip. The way he is, how calm he is, how relaxed he is, completely blasé. You know, it's no problem. This isn't that bad. It's just a ride. You just got to get home. It's only 55 miles. It's not a problem. And George had promised me he was going to stay with me. I didn't ask him to, but he said, no, I'm going to ride with you because it is your biggest challenge, and he knew how worried I was about it. The bell went off, and I'd heard that the first 10 miles was horrible and the last 10 miles was horrible for two different reasons. So we set off, and climbing out of Watch It for the first 8 miles was crazy. It was mental. It was all uphill. But you just got through it, you know.
You know what? This ride is incredible. Absolutely loving it. For an hour in, first feed station, 13 miles. Happy day, going well. Really enjoying it. 35 miles in Ilminster.
So we got literally to the last sort of 8 miles from home, and you know you're getting home. And then usually when that happens, when I'm kind of in a place where I'm nearly getting home, I start to get really fatigued mentally. But I stopped that. I said, no, we're going to do this. So coming back, we got back through Solway Ash into town, and suddenly you've got people that you know, and they're waving at you and they're cheering you on. Oh my God, you know, and that feeling is just absolutely electrifying. It lights you up and pushes you harder. pulling into the bay was just absolutely the best feeling I've ever had. I rocked up and there was everybody from the Stynerspin there cheering me on, my family, my friends. It was a really emotional time, actually. It was really hard. I had to take a couple of seconds to myself to kind of compose myself, because it was such a like, wow, I've just done the coast to coast, this thing I've been absolutely terrified about for 6 months. And then I sat in a pub, 3 pints later I was drunk. It was the end of me. So it was brilliant. Absolutely, just, yeah, I was absolutely on a high. They gave me this fantastic little medal. Do you know what? Having that bite was just this whole new lease of life. I think it makes my journey a lot harder, in the sense that I'm trying to use weights to lose weight, and I'm trying to keep fit and with the cardio. But the group of people you get with that is absolutely brilliant, and that's something you can't replace and you can't get in the gym. But a recap from 2 years ago, just under 2 years, I've gone from 0.4 miles to 55 miles, and still probably had a lot more in me. And I'm getting ready to book up the next wiggle in September, which is I'm probably going to do the 62 mile, and then next year will be the 100 mile. So yeah, going to get into training for that, really. Happy days.